Hello, my name's David Leverick, and today we're going to look at how to actually write a Task 2 IELTS writing question. So in the exam, you get 40 minutes to write 250 words for Task 2. And many students panic, but the examiner is looking for organisation. How do you organise your sentences and your paragraphs? Are your arguments nice and separated and nice and clear? And do you use nice vocabulary to talk about each point? So I'm going to show you the vocabulary that you need and the organisation to get a good score in your Task 2 writing. Here goes. So Task 2 topics, typically speaking, what are you going to write about? Well, usually, what do you think? You have topics about children. IELTS loves talking about children, especially school children. So be prepared to write about education. What do you think this is? Yeah, health. So often these two are linked, children and health. So maybe there's a question about how children are becoming overweight, or obese. How can you stop that? This one is diet. Can you see how these are all linked? That's good news for you because you only need to learn a limited number of words, because if you learn some words for diet, that's going to relate to health, and then you can talk about problems with children. They might need to do more exercise, or you can talk about how they can lose weight. So all of this vocabulary can be used together. Okay, next one. Look at this, education. Once again, linked. It could be linked to children. Okay, this one. Yeah. IELTS loves the topic of the environment. It's usually about, too much traffic, too much pollution. How can we reduce global warming? The CO2 gases. Something about the environment. It's very often appears in IELTS questions. Okay, this one, crime and social issues. So this could relate to education, couldn't it? Could relate to children as well, because very often the questions will be about educating children, so when they become older, they don't commit crimes. And this one, technology. So technology is usually about, for example, guess what? Children using smartphones at school, that kind of thing. So once again, very often linked. So these are the main topics. Right, let's look at how you could organize a typical answer. Right, so this question says, these days school children spend a lot of time using smartphones. There we go. So something about children, something about education, and something about technology. This has a negative effect on their education. To what extent do you agree with this statement? So this is basically, to what extent do you agree? To what extent do you agree means you have to talk about the positives and the negatives. Now, the yellow will be an introduction. So you'll say something like, these days, it is certainly true that, and then something like, pupils or students are using their phones a lot at school. So you're saying the question in a different way. So you're using your own words. So you must try to use your own words and don't repeat. So the introduction, just to say it again, you usually say something like, these days, it is certainly true that, and then just paraphrase or use your own words to repeat the question, but use your own words. Okay, now I've got three main paragraphs here. So either this is going to be positive, or agree, agree. So for example, this question says, using smartphones has a negative effect on education. So this might be, for example, yes, that's true. Yes, this is true. And then the pink one would be the opposite. No, that's not true. Now, these three paragraphs are not your opinions. Do not show your opinion. You show other people's opinions. And we call this general opinion. So the key thing to remember is O-R-E. So just move that back. So O stands for opinion, R stands for reason, and then E stands for example. So how do you express a general opinion? You don't say, I think that. No, because that's a personal opinion. Now, personal opinions would come down here in your conclusion. So at the bottom, you say, I personally think that, or I personally believe that. But here you've got general opinions. So how do you express a general opinion? Well, there we go. Some people think that. So not me, but some people. All right, so if you look at this, these days school children spend a lot of time using smartphones. So what's the opinion? Well, you could say some people think that using smartphones in class might help a child's education. So this could be disagreeing. It's actually a positive thing. Okay, then give a reason. This is because. Then give an example. For example, there you go. So that is perfect organisation, and that will get you a really good score for the second category of the examiner's checklist, which is organisation. They call it cohesion. It's actually organisation. Right, how would you start this first paragraph? Well, you'd use a linking word. You'd say, firstly, yeah, or you could say, to begin with. So, for example, you could say, to begin with, some people think that using phones in the class could help a child's education. Reason: this is because they could learn important skills by watching YouTube tutorials. Yeah. For example, many children these days do project work at school using YouTube videos, and they have to present what they have learned, that kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, so the second one will be the same, not the same idea, but if this is disagree, this will also be disagree. So opinion again. Look at this. It is widely believed that. Then you start your subject. It is widely believed that. You could say students or pupils. Then make your sentence. Yeah. Give a reason. Don't repeat this is because, but use a different way to say it. So this is due to the fact that. Then you start your sentence. Okay. Give an example again. For instance. So these words are very, very important for the examiner. They will be looking at these organizational words. You will get a good score if you can use this organization, O-R-E, and also different ways of expressing. So different ways of expressing examples, different ways to express a reason, and different ways of expressing an opinion. So lastly, now we've got an opposite opinion. So if this was disagree, disagree, this would be agree. So you can say, yes, I agree, it is negative. So how would you express the opposite opinion? Well, others. There we go. That's important. For the opposite opinion, you start by saying others. Okay, so this could be firstly, some people. Secondly, it is widely believed that. And then you want the opposite. So what linking words could you express the opposite with? Well, you could say in contrast, or on the other hand, others are of the opinion that. It just means some people think that. Okay, give another reason. Let's put this up here. This is owing to the fact that. Okay, so expresses a reason. Another way to express an example. One example of this is something. And then start giving your example in the second sentence. Okay, when you use this one example of this is something. and then give your example in the second sentence. Okay, so lastly, you've got the summary, you've got the conclusion. Just start by saying in conclusion or in short, okay, or to sum up. And then you say this point, and this point all mixed together in one sentence or two sentences. Then you give your personal opinion. So I personally think that. Give your opinion, then you're finished. You have finished task 2, and you should have finished before the 40 minutes. And if you use this organisation, you will write 250 words. 250 words is not that much. It's about one side of writing. Okay, so this is the main type of question you get in task 2, but you might also get a cause and solution. So you get some kind of problem. Then you have to say, what are the causes? And then what are the possible solutions? All you do is you get, once again, O-R-E. So you got 2 points here. So you could bring these together. There we go. So this is your introduction again. So these days, it is certainly true that. So this question is about the pollution levels. So a question about the environment. The pollution levels in the major cities around the world are reaching a dangerous limit. Discuss the causes for this worrying trend, this pattern, and suggest how these could be solved. So you have to write the causes. What are the causes? You're going to write them here. Guess what? Use the same pattern, O-R-E. O-R-E. So this is cause 1. This is cause 2. Yeah, so for example, regarding the causes, some people think that, you could say, pollution increases because too many people drive cars to work. That kind of thing. Yeah, that could be one cause. Yeah. Then give your second cause. All right. So once again, always use this is because, for example, always use opinion, reason, example. So these would be the causes. And then what's the second thing you have to write about? The solutions. So suggest how these could be solved. So what are the answers to these causes? If, for example, one of the causes is too many people driving to work, then maybe a solution is more people should work at home. Yeah, give a reason. Give an example. You could say something like, one example of this is Zoom, where you can have meetings and share documents online, that kind of thing. Yeah. So you've got your causes here, you've got your solutions here, and introduction here, and once again, your conclusion here. So there's not much difference. So the key thing to remember is this vocabulary and this organisation. O, opinion. R, reason. E, example. Okay, so that was how to get a good score in task 2 of your writing, especially for the vocabulary and the organisation. Thanks for watching. So in the future, we'll be having a look at task 1, which is a shorter question, but the topics are completely different to task 2. So we'll have a look at those in future videos. Thanks for listening.